What I'm about to show you is an AI learning method so powerful that 60% of students are already using it, but completely wrong. And it's making them worse at learning. Derek Miller, the Veritasium guy with the channel that has about 14 million subscribers, revealed something at a conference. What he said completely changed how I think about AI and education and goes against everything AI companies are telling you right now. Hi, I'm Elson. I'm here to help you learn a little faster, get more efficient by using AI tools in the process. Oh, and by the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. I am going to show you what he discovered, why every educational revolution has failed, and the one thing AI cannot replace. But first, let me show you something that seemed impossible. 10 months ago, this AI tutor demo went viral. Watch what happens when a student struggles with trigonometry. In the demo, you can actually see the student can't identify triangle sides. The AI provides patient, guided instruction, and what happens is it doesn't give answers. It asks Socratic questions, waits for responses, and gently corrects mistakes. Within minutes, the student reaches correct understanding independently. Look, I'll be honest, this is genuinely good. This is genuinely impressive. You have a full package where you have infinite patience, perfect recall, adapts to any pace, and available 24/7. But here's where it gets disturbing. Derek raised two critical reflections, completely flip this narrative on its head, and once you see them, you'll never use AI the same way again, I promise. He asked two questions that changed everything, and personally, I'm not some AI hater. I use these tools almost every day for either personal or professional work. But these questions made me realize we're making a dangerous mistake. Let's go with the reflection one, which is about the learning paradox. First, we have Derek Street interviews, where he's asking a bunch of questions about what's water made of, what's happening to CO2 in the atmosphere. Basic science questions, educated people, and surprisingly shocking ignorance. Look, the common narrative is that everyone says, if only we had better education, if only we had AI tutors, everyone would be brilliant, right? Well, the reality hits differently because students already have access to these tools. Khan Academy has been free for about 15 years, and YouTube has unlimited expert lectures. Now we have ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and the one from China, which is DeepSeek. And somehow we're still not learning effectively. Which brings us to the real question of, if the problem isn't access to information, what is it? The second reflection is about the revolution we've heard before. And here's the second thing Derek said that hit me like a truck. Throughout history, we've had different historical figures they were talking about how new tools are going to revolutionize education. Like in the 1920s, Thomas Edison mentioned that motion pictures will revolutionize education. In the 1930s, we have radio. They say it will bring experts to thousands of classrooms. Then in the 1950s, we have television will create economies of scale. After saying that, the uncomfortable truth is we walk into a classroom today, it looks remarkably similar to one from 100 years ago. Every single technology, promised revolution, massive hype, millions invested, and none of them delivered, especially for education. Now we have to ask ourselves about a critical question. So why would AI be any different? What makes us think this time it will work? The bat and the ball problem. I'm going to challenge you. Let me test you right now. I want you to answer this question as fast as possible. The problem. A bat and a ball cost $1.10 total. The bat cost $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Now, most people say 10 cents. That's wrong. The correct answer is 5 cents. Why it matters? Let me explain to you. If the ball is 10 cents, then the bat is 1.10. The total in this case would be 1.20, which is wrong because we already know what's the total is. If the ball is 5 cents, then the bat is 1.05, which is the correct one. The key insight here is your brain just lied to you, and understanding why is the key to everything about learning with AI. The framework, System 1 versus System 2. Daniel discovered we had two thinking systems. I actually called this the autopilot versus the engaged brain method, kind of similar. So System 1, the autopilot one, it's fast, intuitive, effortless, automatic. That's the one that gave you the answer for 10 cents. The System 2, the engaged brain, this is where the deep work happens. It's slow, deliberate, effortful, and requires conscious thought. That's the one that's gonna give you the right answer, even if it takes 15 minutes to get there, but you will eventually get to the right answer. Another example is how long does it take Earth to go around the sun? Most of the time, System 1 screams 24 hours. That's wrong. And then System 2 pauses, waits, and says 1 year. That's the right one. And I can actually catch myself doing this consistently. My brain wants the quick answers, but here's the illegal part. Real learning only happens when you force System 2 to engage. It's not about information. It's not about having the information available to you. No. You learn when System 2 works, when you're engaging in the second system. After mentioning that, there's a problem with System 2. It has severe limitations. George Miller's discovery talks about we can only hold 7 ± 2 items in working memory. Modern research, after updating the previous research, actually says that we can only get to 4 items. Derek explained 3 types of cognitive load. And here, guys, we have the intrinsic load, the extraneous load, and germane load, which is the key one. The first is the intrinsic load. This is the actual difficulty of what we are learning. That one, we cannot do that much about it. We can't eliminate that one. The extraneous load is everything else around. Distractions, poor audio, confusing visuals. We can act on that by minimizing it, so we can reduce it as much as possible. And the third one, this is the effortful practice that builds long-term memory. This is where real learning happens, and it's kind of hard. Your brain doesn't want to do it. That last one is the only type that actually creates learning, and AI is about to make it disappear. A kind of fascinating detail is that scientists can literally measure System 2 engagement by watching your pupils dilate. When you're thinking hard, pupils get bigger. Your brain is burning a lot of energy for that purpose. This discomfort you feel, that's learning. That's the real learning happening. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. There's a famous study that proves exactly how expertise actually works. The experiment went with researchers with chess players. We have novices and masters. We showed them the chessboard for about 5 seconds, and then we asked them to recreate the board. So the result from the first test is novices were able to recall about 4 pieces, but the masters were able to recall about 16 pieces. Now you might think the masters just have better working memory. They're smarter, actually. That's why they're masters, right? But then they ran the experiment again with a little twist. Chess pieces were placed randomly on the board, not real game positions, just scattered pieces. The result for the second test is the masters were able to recall 4 pieces and the novice as well. Exactly the same. What this means is that masters, they don't really have better working memory. They have better long-term memory patterns. Okay, to explain that, when the masters see a real chess position, they're not seeing 16 individual pieces. They're seeing 3 to 4 patterns they've practiced thousands of times. Psychologists call this chunks, which brings us to Derek's conclusion. There's no general thinking skill. You can't just get better at thinking. You can build expertise through effortful practice in a specific domain that creates long-term memory structures, makes future learning easier. This completely changed how I personally approach learning with AI, because if chunks are built through effortful practice and AI removes the effort, what happens to the chunks? You get it? So how does this apply to AI? Derek outlined educational implications, but I'm going to show you exactly how AI fits into each one. We have the 3-part framework. The 3-part framework goes like, you have to eliminate extraneous load, limit intrinsic load, and then maximize the germane load. First, about the extraneous load, you have to create a comfortable environment. You need clear audio, clear visuals. You have to remove distractions all around you, remove your phone, whatever is going to get some of your attention away from the study. You have to limit the intrinsic load. You can actually break content into smaller pieces that your brain can wrap itself around. You have to use familiar examples. Slow down the pace according to what you're learning, because you can't learn at the same pace for everything. You may be faster at learning biology, but in physics you might need to go a little slower. AI is actually great at that. It can simplify complex topics, generates analogies, breaks down step by step. You can use it for that. And then maximize germane load is where you engage system to repeatedly, effortful practice. You build long-term memory through this. But here's the problem. AI can literally destroy this. It makes it too easy to get the answers. No struggle. It removes the part where you have to force yourself to understand. The entire process of learning goes like a loop. I already mentioned that in a previous video where I said that learning is non-linear. It's something more of a loop, or that spreads from one point to different other points of connection. And the loop goes like effortful practice, long-term memory, System 1 automation. That's the entire point. Once you've learned about how the Earth orbits around the Sun, you want to learn it with effortful practice first. Then that information is encoded and retained for a long-term memory, and then you can retrieve it faster with System 1. Because remember, System 1 is fast, is intuitive, and is automatic. And System 1 is like being on autopilot. That's what you want to get. That's the point of learning. The analogy is more like every action requires conscious thought. For example, a driver. You check the mirrors, the signal, you check blind spot, you turn wheels, you adjust the speed. That's System 2 working when you're just starting as a driver. You're mentally exhausting. After hundreds of hours of practice, driving becomes automatic and System 1 takes over. You become like a robot. You can drive while having conversation, thinking about other things, and sometimes you can even go blank on the road. It's fascinating. Okay, the key point here is not because driving got easier, because you built mental structures through effortful repetition. Let me repeat that one. Not because driving got easier, but because you built mental structures through effortful repetition. The universal application of that goes the same for math, writing, coding, languages, absolutely any skill. There's no shortcut around the effort. So why did every past revolution failed? And why AI is about to make the same mistake? Here's the answer. The problem is information delivery. Not enough books, you print more books. Not enough lectures, use audio or radio. Not enough access, use TV. Not enough quality, use computers. Not enough reach, use internet. The reality is information has been abundant for decades. That was never the bottleneck. The real issue is getting students to engage in effortful learning. The truth is uncomfortable because human brains did not evolve for calculus or physics. It evolved for survival. Brain resists hard thinking because it's metabolically expensive. It burns a lot of calories and it feels uncomfortable. Now that you understand the entire point, what AI can do, this is where we need to see the good and the bad. It provides timely feedback, reduce extraneous cognitive load, clear explanations, personalized pacing. That's what it's good for. What it's bad for, it's AI's biggest danger. You remember the 3 types of load we mentioned previously? The extraneous, intrinsic, and effortful practice. AI is incredibly good at reducing the first 2, which is great. But here's the trap. If we're not careful, it also removes the 3rd, the effort component, the only part that actually creates learning. The consequence of that is if AI does the work for you instead of with you, you'll never build necessary mental structures. You never engage System 2. You never create long-term memory and never form the chunks, the one from the masters. The result is skills atrophy, writing declines, critical thinking weakens. This is the trap. AI makes it so easy to get answers, we skip the struggles. But the struggle is where learning happens. So what's the solution? How do we use AI without falling into this trap? Derek's key insight. The teachers are like personal trainers. The analogy is a personal trainer doesn't lift weights for you. They keep you accountable, bring energy and motivation when you want to quit, create community where effort is valued, and make you do the reps. That's what the personal trainer does. And that's what AI cannot replace. Do the effort for you. You have to do it. Listen, according to Derek, no technology will revolutionize education. Why? Because the core challenge isn't information access. It's human motivation. Obviously, education is more about people, not just information delivery, but it's also about relationships, accountability, community. What AI can do is enhance learning, provide feedback, reduce distractions, personalize pacing, answer questions, generate practice problems. What AI cannot do is replace human accountability, replace energy and motivation, replace community, replace the relationship. So the future we actually want is not AI replacing teachers, but human teachers plus AI tools. That's why it works, because we still need to do the effort. My challenge to you is use AI as a learning partner, not as a shortcut. We still have to struggle when we're learning. The part that is uncomfortable, we need that. So the rule is, if you're not engaging system 2, obviously you're not learning. If this changed how you think about AI and learning, drop a comment below. What is your biggest learning struggle right now? Let me know. I might make a video on it. I post a new AI strategy every week. Subscribe if you want to learn faster and actually retain what you learn. Thanks for watching. Now go put in that effortful practice. Your future self will thank you.